Hi guys, it's Dakota. Welcome to the Hallowed Cauldron. I hope everyone is doing well. So we have been working on Element Ritual series, and we are on part 4 today. We have covered air, fire, water, and today we're going to be covering earth. Now, the precursor, this is kind of my fault. The precursor to this series was the video that I made right before air, which was, I think it's called Binding Work. And if you haven't watched that video and you're interested in maybe doing the ritual work that's going to be at the end of the series, you might want to watch that video because it is binding work, but it's specific to what we're going to be doing. And so it's not binding work as one may think. It specifically was for this particular series that I'm doing. So it will help you understand if you choose to do the work at the end of the series for ritual. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about element of earth, and I'm going to be looking at my notes, so you'll see me looking down occasionally so that I don't miss anything, as always, because you know I'm a squirrel and I'm always over here and over there. I'm everywhere. All right. So the element of earth is that is our foundation, and those of you that know me and that have been following my videos are going to be sick to death of me at some point, because I'm never going to give up telling you that for me the path and should be I don't know, anybody that doesn't work in this format, I don't know how you do. But there has to be a foundation for your work. You have to start with the foundation before you can build the walls and put the roof on of your house. So it's very, very important to have some structure. I'm not talking about it has to be done this way, you have to do this, and I'm not talking about the have-tos. I'm just saying that if you don't have a strong base, if you don't have a strong foundation, if you don't know the roots, the hows, and the whys, then I ask you the question, then why? Why are you doing that? Because the book said so isn't good enough. You need to understand what it is you're doing. And when we start working with the elements, and if you're doing any kind of spell work, I'm telling you right now that you're working with an element. And whether you are working with candle, whether you are working, fire magic, whether you're working water magic, air magic, earth magic, you're working with an element. That is an element. So then you really need to sit down and ask yourself, how well do you know that element? Through every single one of these videos that I've made on this series, I've mentioned this. Every element has its strength and its weakness. Fire, its weakness is when it's contained, then it's contained. It's not going anywhere. But its strength is, if it escapes that, it can become extremely chaotic and destructive. Just like water, you can have calm or you can have a tsunami. You can have a tidal wave. Air, you can have a nice still day, and then you can have a day like today where it's kind of windy and branches are sort of falling off, the branches that died over the winter, and now the spring, the leaves are coming and the branches are getting a little bit heavier. So those branches that died are weak and they're starting to fall. And if one falls on your head, it's not going to feel well. It's not going to feel good. So every element has its strength and its weakness, and it's very, very important for you to understand those strengths and those weaknesses, because the elements, when we use something that is of an element, which is anything and everything, like I said, then we are asking that element to help us, to assist us, because that's why we're using it. If you weren't, then why are you using it? If you weren't using a candle for fire magic or candle magic, Well, then why would you use a candle? You know, why would you use fire if you weren't doing fire magic? Why would you use water if you weren't doing some sort of water magic? I mean, so every element we use in our spell crafting. It's just the way it is. All right. So for me, Earth then is the foundation, right? Earth is our foundation. Earth is our stabilizer. It is our grounding force. And if you've ever done any kind of meditation or any yoga classes or any kind of thing like that, or before your ritual or before your spell work, I know that I do this. I take those deep breaths and, you know, I'm trying to ground myself out. That's what that means. I'm taking this excitable energy that I have, this air energy that I have, and I am trying to balance myself out. I'm grounding. Earth is grounding. It's a stabilizer. And that is what I need in order for me to focus. Could you imagine? You see, I mean, and this is just a video. Those of you that know me, you know how excitable I am. I'm a Gemini. I'm an air sign. And yes, I do have aspects of air. One of them is I'm a talker and I'm really, you know, I'm kind of excitable. However, I don't consider myself, when it comes to air, I'm not really like that bipolar thing. I don't really have the highs and the lows that a lot of Geminis have. And yet I am really drawn to fire. Rarely work with air. I already mentioned that in the air video. I'm extremely drawn to fire, always have been, don't know why. Yes, I've done my natal chart. I have like 5 planets in Cancer of all things, and I'm not really a very weepy kind of person. I'm not really a boohoo kind of depressed, sad, cry kind of person. So I don't know about that. You know, it's really odd. Now, I don't really know how to read my chart. I just did the chart. It showed where it was. It talked about all the houses and stuff. I really am not very good with astrology, so I need somebody to explain my chart to me and why there's so many planets in a water sign when I'm not watery at all. Maybe it's telling me I should be. I don't know. Drowned out some of that energy. But I love working with herbs. Herbs are earth, and so maybe that's my grounding. I don't know. But anyway, earth is that stabilizer, okay? So we always taking that deep breath in and blowing it out. And even if you don't meditate and you're like, that's a bunch of crap, whatever. I guarantee you that when you're mad, when you're upset, when someone is on your last nerve, when you're at work and there's just something irritating, you're frustrated, those kind of things, I guarantee you that you've went before. It's a natural thing that we do. That's a grounding. It's a natural thing that we do. So, so that's earth. Earth is grounding. Earth is a stabilizer, helps balance us out. But earth is more than that. Earth is more than that. So when we sit down and we really process what earth is and we start to think about what earth is, we can just look around. I mean, you can just look around. Open the door, open a window, and look around. And it's grass. I see grass. I see my daffodils. I see trees. I see the woods. I see, land animals crawling around, lizards, things like that. Some of the animals, they do have other properties like other elements. However, we are also earth element. We are also earth element because we have all of the elements within us, because we have thought, we have fire, which is that passion, that drive, motivation, goals, that energy, water, tears, saliva. We talked about water in the blood. We talked about in the womb, having to have water in the embryo sac, has to have water to survive. So we talked about all of that. So we are kind of a land animal, earth animal. All right. For me, I think outside of the box. I try to, as much as I can, when I'm thinking about anything and everything. I've mentioned it several times before that I dissect everything. I don't know why I do it. Because I want to know. I want to know. I don't want to just do it. I want to know why. Why? I am that person. I was probably that kid. Why, mommy? Why? But if you don't know why, then why are you messing with it? You shouldn't mess with it if you don't know why. It doesn't make sense to me. So, thinking outside of the box, as you know, I do a lot of ancestor work. It's part of who I am. It's part of my tradition. That's how I work. I work with the ancestors. When I say the ancestors, I am not talking just about my DNA ancestors. I'm not just talking about them. I am talking about elders who have passed. I'm talking about mentors who have passed. I'm talking about those who have passed that I have no clue who they are, that come to me in meditation or through divination, whatever, the guides that come forth. Even though some of that is divine intervention, I believe, sometimes it feels ancestral to me. It is that, I don't know, it's like that degree of wisdom, that comes from a different source. And for me, that is earth wisdom. So whether someone has, when someone passes, whether they are buried or whether they choose to be cremated, or whatever, they, we, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, right? We return back to the source, to earth. And so I use that energy. So that is a type of ancestral energy to me. And so that is an earth energy. It has at times it is divine energy. Don't get me wrong. There is a difference. But when I'm working on the earth level, that earth plane, that earth realm in my magic, then that energy feels earth wisdomy to me. So that is what I do. I think about things in that respect. So I got my notes here. I don't want to miss anything. And even though technically earth is things that are tangible, things are tangible, are considered earthy, but they're also, also things that are not tangible. It just is. Energy is not tangible. You can feel it, but you can't hold it. You can't contain that energy, but that energy. I can't hold fire. I can't hold it in my hands. I can't hold air in my hands. I mean, I guess there's air in there, but I can't feel it. It's not tangible. I can't feel it. And water, you might be able to hold a little bit in your hand, but I think you know where I'm going with that. It's not tangible. But things that are tangible, that are of earth, like rocks, our crystals, our stones, those are tangible things that are not earth, but of earth. And so they have an earthy energy, an earthy feel to them. Okay. In the Witch's Pyramid, which I follow, as you know, earth is to be silent. Now, there's a whole thing about that. It's not just to quiet yourself and to be silent, but it's also to be silent about the work that you do. If I'm doing spell work and I don't, as you know, I mean, we've done spell work here on my channel, but I always tell you that use your own. I'm not going to show you exactly what I do. I'm not going to give you my words that I use in my spell crafting because it's personal, and I feel that it gives away some of the energy. I am more than happy to share spell work with people, and I love it, and I love receiving spell work, but I never would take someone's spell work and do it exactly the way they did, because that's theirs and I don't want any part of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's awesome, and there's been some really powerful spell work that I've seen, like personally have seen, that where I have been someplace and somebody, you know, like in ritual, and there has been spell work done in group setting, and it's powerful, but then not every single one that's in that circle is on the same page. We all think differently, and the way we perceive things is differently. So if somebody wanted a healing, the way that I perceive what you're saying may be different from the way you want it perceived. So I just don't share my magic that way. So for me, there's to be silent in your spellcrafting. It's important. I think that it's really important to keep some aspects of your craft private and quiet. Yeah, sometimes I feel like there's almost an ego power kind of thing behind that. Not that intentionally it is, but sometimes I just feel that from other people, and then that loses its whole to me, you know, it just loses its whole thing to me. So I'm very quiet, and I'm very private about what I do. But it's just me. It's just me. So that's just how I work. All right. So it's to be silent. All right. So when I was writing my notes down, I wrote that down so I wouldn't forget. I started thinking about that, and I'm like, so to be silent. So, and it's earth. Earth is silent. And then I went, you know, I wonder if it is, though. You know, like, I wonder, does the earth have a heartbeat? You know, like, I don't know. I just, you know, so I started dissecting that, and I wanted to know. Now I'm not going to be, like, I don't want to be buried alive or anything, trust me, but I just wondered, like, how silent is the earth? You know, if you go down deep. I don't know. Because there's gases and things in the earth. I just wonder. You know, or if you were somehow deep in the earth by an ocean, would you hear the crashing of the waves? What would that sound like? So, yeah. Okay, so there's that. So, okay. Talked about all of that. Talked all about that. All right. So how do we work with earth, and how do we ground? Let me show you this too. So one of the things that corresponds with earth, that if you do any sort of ritual and there is a salt circle, or a lot of people just will have salt in a little bowl on their altar, that represents earth, because on your altar you should have the elements, all the elements represented. Well, then ask yourself why. So all of the elements would be represented on your altar. And salt is one of them. And so we used to have an antique store. I used to have an antique store years ago. And, salt, back in the day, salt was a lot of people didn't have salt, and a lot of people didn't have sugar. You had to have money to have those things. And so, and I'm going back in the days, all right? They had, when they had workers, I'm just going to say that so that there's no thing. When people that had money, that had workers working for them, cooking their meals and cleaning their homes, etc. They had in the household what was called salt boxes. They also had sugar boxes because that was a form of money. And because if you didn't have it and you wanted it, I mean, there was like a bartering system. You had to pay for it. So a lot of people didn't have it. So when you had money, you would go and you would get your salt and you would put it in these salt boxes and you would weigh it. It came by the pound or something, and you would weigh it and put it in your salt box or your sugar box, and they would lock it. They would say, I have 5 pounds. I'm going to show you this. I don't have a salt box, but I have, this is from my kitchen. I have this is a sugar box. It's a sugar tin. It's a spice tin, but it's a sugar tin. And you can see here, see that? This is how it opens right here. Okay, well, the reason there's this, they would lock it. And they would keep, the mistress of the house would keep the key, or whoever, the mister of the house would keep the key. So then when they were cooking, the people that cooked for them, when they needed salt or sugar, they would go and have to ask the mistress or whoever for the key to unlock the box and then take out however much, and that would be weighed and measured again. And if ever there was a missing, like there was some missing, it was not good. Yeah, those were terrible days. Okay, so what I have done, I just wanted to throw that little trivia in there because I was, just thinking about things. All right, the card that I'm going to show you today, for me, that represented, was a good card today, that represented Earth for me. I actually pulled from the Seasons of the Witch. It's a Samhain Oracle, and this is the deck that my really good friend gave to me at Samhain. She mailed it to me, so I think it was last year because of the virus, so I think she mailed it when we were all quarantined and all of that. But anyway, it's such a gorgeous deck. I've showed it to you before. I did a little thing on it, but this is the back of the card, and then look at, it's this beautiful red like foil edges on it. It's a beautiful deck. I really love it. Anyway, I chose Rooted today. Made sense to me. Rooted. And so I'm going to read just a little bit. I have it marked here in my little book because I was looking through it and something that resonated with me. And remember I said we start with a foundation. Okay, so it says here that we need to start with building intuition. We need to build our intuition or build on our thought. When we're ready to do something, we need to build on our thought. Needing to dig deeper. Maintaining deep roots is how you pull yourself from the darkness. I just loved this card for that. It felt very earthy to me. So that is the card that I decided that I wanted to use today. All right. We're going to be using brown is the color that I chose for my candle. These are tapers. I'm not using the small ones for this series. I'm not using the chime candles. I'm using the 6-inch tapers. They're a little bit bigger because I wanted a longer burn time. You can use whatever kind of candle you want. Makes no difference to me. So I am using the brown candle. I have, as you can see, like I've done in all of them, I have divided the candle with a line. I inscribed. I divided it into 2 sections. The top section, which is going out, my introduction of myself to the element of earth, and then the bottom half of the candle is calling earth into me and asking earth what I want, what I expect to get in return from earth. I am using tobacco. This is the tobacco cologne, I believe. I call it water, but we sell it at the store. Plug, and it's divine. But you know, if you've watched me, that I use tobacco in a lot because I work with the ancestors. So what I'm doing with this is I almost spilled it all over the place. I'm just washing. I'm washing, cleansing. I'm cleansing. That's a better word. I'm just cleansing it right now. So it doesn't matter to me how I do it as far as direction or anything, because I really am I'm washing off the extra wax that was on it. I am putting, I'm just cleansing it. I want to cleanse it. Okay, so I got it all clean. I'm going to put the lid on it because I almost knocked it over. Let's put that over here out of the way. Okay. Now I am going to dress today in tobacco oil. And this, my friend in Arizona sent to me. And I adore it. I absolutely love it. All right. Now with the oil now, I'm going to put a few drops on the candle. And now I am going to put my intention, everything you can see I've already inscribed everything that I wanted to say to earth as an introduction of myself to earth. And I'm just dressing it out. I'm sending the energy out so that when this burns, everything that I have from the middle to the wick is burning, is sending out to the universe, which is my introduction, me. Then I'm going to put a couple more drops on I should have turned the camera down, I guess. Now I'm drawing in. And what I have from the middle down is what I am asking earth to bring to me. What I want when I call the element of earth. And you can, whatever words you want. If you want grounding, if you want stability, whatever words you want to be brought in. So when I call earth, this is who I am. And when I call you, this is what I need. Okay, so I'm bringing that into me. Of course, I have my inscription on the bottom here, and I just oil the whole thing. All right, let's close that so we don't spill that. And I am going to just wipe this oil off real quickly. It's going to be a little bit longer video. I apologize for that. All right. Now, I am not going to dress this candle in an herb. I'm going to put the camera down. All right. So I'm not going to dress it in an herb, but what I'm going to do is, here's my jar of tobacco, which is from my worker bee at work. It was a gift of tobacco, which I use tobacco in everything, it seems like, because I do so much ancestor work. I also use it in my devotions and my rituals and everything. But what I'm going to do with the tobacco is, I'm not going to do it right this second, but for ritual, when I get ready to show you the ritual, you'll see what I'm going to do with the tobacco. Smells good. Okay, so it's just a jar of tobacco, and this is what tobacco looks like when it dries. Just see. I get those in the field after they get done harvesting the tobacco. There's always leftover leaves, and they don't care. It's on the ground. They're not going to run around and pick it up. So usually the farmers will be like, I don't care, take whatever you want. So I do. And I dry it, and then I crumble it up and I use it. All right, the next thing I'm going to be using, this is graveyard dirt. Graveyard dirt. Typically graveyard dirt would be, a lot of people use graveyard dirt for protection, but for me, graveyard dirt is it's ancestral, right? It's ancestral, and it's element of earth. And so I'm also going to be using the graveyard dirt when we get to the end of the series, and this dirt, graveyard dirt, when we get to the end of the series. So I'm going to be using graveyard dirt. Now, let me just give you an FYI real quick on that. I'm not going to take it out right now because I'm going to keep it in there until I'm ready to use it. FYI on the graveyard dirt. It is against the law to go to a graveyard and take dirt. It's against the law. You cannot do it. So don't do that. It's that simple. The graveyard dirt. Now, if you have an ancestor, if you have someone that is your DNA person, and you go to visit the grave and you snatch a little bit of earth from their grave, that's on you. But you have to consider the spirit of the ancestor is not there anymore, is my belief. And again, if I were to be buried, I don't think that I would want my surroundings to be disturbed. So you could possibly ask your ancestor if you want to do that. But again, be careful, because it is, I don't know if it's that way in all states. I would imagine it is, but I know here it is against the law. You don't want to get caught doing that. This graveyard dirt, it is called graveyard dirt. It is a mix of earth and herbs that correspond with ancestral work. So that's what I use, because I don't think kindly of someone going and disturbing someone's resting place, whether it's your DNA or not, unless you've been given permission before that person went to rest. Okay, so this week, ask yourself, that's it. So you're going to need your candle. Earth can be brown, or it can also be green. And some people like to use black because, dark black earth, and that's acceptable as well. Especially like when you think about ancestral work, I just don't like to use black for this particular thing that we're doing. I'm not going to say for earth, because I do at times, and I do use it for other things as well. But for this particular ritual that we're using, I don't want to use black. I've chosen brown. You can use green if you want. Green is also an earth color. You're going to want to start looking around, observing Earth. What is it? It's not just the ground. It's not just the things that are on the ground. What else is Earth? How do you connect with Earth? Are you really aware of Earth? And start jotting those things down and doing your introduction to Earth if you want to participate for the ritual, or it's fine if you want to wait till the end and you can see what the whole series is going to be and do all of your work at the end is fine as well if you want to participate. So all I did was I inscribed, I cleansed my candle, I dressed my candle. Both of those, one was the tobacco water, dressed it with tobacco oil, and when it comes down to the ritual, I'm going to be using tobacco, and I'm also going to be using graveyard dirt. Okay, all right, so that's it for Earth. So we have covered all 4 elements, but we still have one more, especially see this back here. So we have 4 points to this star, but we also have spirit, and so we are going to talk about spirit next week, and then the week after that we will be getting to the ritual part of it. All right, so I hope you enjoyed it, and that's it. Have a great week. See you next time. Bye, guys. Get up.